would you look at if you're talking to a homeowner who's got an oven that is cooking really unevenly? Maybe the front is always sort of burning and the back's, pretty lukewarm, or vice versa. Maybe it's on the sides. What would you sort of recommend that they look at?
There's a couple of different things with that. Especially if you're baking, the heat's coming from the bottom, and so you want to think about kind of how the heat flows, how it escapes from the oven. It could be a potential gasket issue to where you're having more heat escape from a place that's not supposed to. So you have a majority of that heat that's coming across instead of evenly coming up. That it's coming out of gaskets, so maybe cooking the front more so than the back. The other thing too is I know sometimes folks will put like a big pan or something on the lower rack to kind of catch everything that falls, and it's good because it's less cleaning.
Yeah.
But it could definitely cause some temperature issues, especially if the pan's off centered, if it's something's going on with it. A lot of times it could also just be a temperature issue in general, that it's cooking too hot, it's not cooking hot enough. And I can't remember if we covered that already, but
Yeah, we touched on when the oven's sort of getting hotter and hotter. So just sort of looking at the thermostat adjustment, I think, or maybe we could cover it again, or touch on what you'd look at for when it's potentially the oven itself just getting way too hot.
yeah, for sure. So if it's getting too hot, it'll cook the outside quicker than the inside, and that sort of thing. Those are the main things to look at for uneven cooking. Now, if you're getting into like convection cooking, that takes a little finesse. It takes a little practice to get it down. So just depending on where your stuff that you're cooking is located in there, and how the air is going to flow. Most of the time with the ovens that have that convection type cooking, they have some pretty good instructions in the owner's manual. And if you don't have a physical copy, a lot of times, you can go online and get it. But they really kind of break it down and show you how the air flows. So definitely refer to that if you're doing any kind of convection type cooking.
Right. Okay. So essentially, looking in your owner's manual and sort of seeing where the airflow should be, and maybe looking for any blockages, any kind of, as you say, racks that could be covering it up.
Yeah, and especially if you're cooking, multiple items at the same time.
Yeah.
Most owners' manual, they do have kind of a guide of how to put everything in there. So it's definitely worth checking out. It could potentially save you from having to redo a recipe. So
Yeah, it makes sense. I guess it's sort of like a fridge. It's, you just want to chuck everything in there and forget about it, but really, if you set it up right, it'll help the appliance work a lot better.